oven for 20 minutes, or until nicely browned. For a change, a little onion juice, chopped parsley, or grated cheese may be added to the sauce. Potato creamed. Cut cold boiled potatoes into small dice and cover them in a small saucepan with milk. Let them stand where they will heat slowly and absorb nearly all the milk. When hot, add to 1 pint of potatoes a teaspoon of salt and a dash of white pepper. Sprinkle a little finely chopped parsley over the top as a garnish. Potato mold. Mash some potato smoothly. Add to it some butter and a little milk to make it smooth but not wet. Season with white pepper and salt, and add enough chopped parsley to make it look pretty. Press into greased mold and bake for half an hour until lightly browned. Dust with crumbs and serve. Potato Parisienne. Potato marbles seasoned with minced parsley, butter, and lemon juice are liked by many. Others find that they are not sufficiently seasoned, that is, the seasoning has not penetrated into the potatoes, especially if a large cutter has been used. This method will be found to remedy this fault, giving a seasoning which reaches every portion of the potato. It may not be quite so attractive as the somewhat underdone marbles, but the flavor is finer. Pare the potatoes and steam or boil them until soft, being careful they do not cook too fast. Drain off the water and let them stand uncovered until dry. Then cut in quarters lengthwise, and then in thin slices, letting them drop into a stewpan containing melted butter, salt, and paprika. When all are sliced, cover them and let them heat for a few minutes. Add minced parsley and lemon juice. Shake them about so the seasoning will be well mixed, and serve at once. Potato Puffs No. 1. To 1 cup of mashed potato, add 1 tablespoon of butter, 1 egg, beaten light, 1/2 cup of cream or milk, a little salt. Beat well and fill popover pans half full. Bake until brown in quick oven. Potato Puffs No. 2. Add hot milk to cold mashed potatoes. Beat up thoroughly. Add 1 or 2 well-beaten eggs, leaving out the yolks if preferred whiter. Drop in spoonfuls on a battered tin, place a piece of butter on the top of each, and bake a delicate brown, or put in a pudding dish and butter the top, and bake till of a light brown on top. 15 minutes in a hot oven will be sufficient. Rice a la Georgienne for 5 persons. Wash 1 pound of rice in several changes of cold water until water is clear, and cook until soft, but not soft enough to mash between the fingers. Let it drip, cool, and drip again. Add it to 1/4 pound of melted butter, not browned. Season with salt and pepper. Mix thoroughly. Bake in covered dish for 20 minutes. Rice in tomatoes. Cook some rice in boiling salted water until tender, and season highly with pepper. Cut a small slice from the top of each ripe tomato, take out the seeds, fill with the seasoned rice, put a bit of butter on each, set in the oven, and bake until the tomato is tender. Rice served Italian style with mushroom sauce. Steam or boil 1/2 pound of rice until done, then drain. Remove meat from mushroom sauce. Drop rice into mushroom sauce and cook about 5 minutes. Pour on platter and sprinkle heavy with grated cheese. Scalloped tomatoes. Drain a 1/2 can of tomatoes from some of their liquor and season with salt, pepper, a few drops of onion juice, and 1 teaspoonful of sugar. Cover the bottom of a small buttered baking dish with buttered cracker crumbs. Cover with tomatoes and sprinkle the top thickly with buttered crumbs. Bake in a hot oven. Buttered cracker crumbs are made by simply rolling common crackers with a rolling pin and allowing 1/3 cupful of melted butter to each cupful of crumbs. This recipe takes about 1 1/3 cupfuls of crumbs. Spaghetti à l'Italienne. Let it cook until the water nearly boils away and it is very soft. The imported spaghetti is so firm that it may be cooked a long time without losing its shape. When the water has boiled out, watch it, and remove the cover so it will dry off. Then draw the mass to one side, and put in a large lump of butter, perhaps a tablespoon, and let it melt. Then stir in until the butter is absorbed, and pour on 1 cup of the strained juice from canned tomatoes. Season with salt and paprika, and let it stew until the spaghetti has absorbed the tomato. The spaghetti, if cooked until soft, will thicken the tomato sufficiently, and it is less work than to make a tomato sauce. Turn out and serve as an entree, or a main dish for luncheon, and pass grated sapsago or other cheese to those who prefer it. When you have any stock like chicken or veal, add that with the tomato, or alone if you prefer, and scant the butter. Stuffed cabbage. Cut the stalk out of 2 or more young cabbages, and fill with a stuffing made from cooked veal, chopped or ground very fine, seasoned well with salt and pepper, and mixed with the beaten yolk of an egg. Tie a strip of cheesecloth round each cabbage, or if small, twine will hold each together. Put into a kettle with boiling water to cover and cook until tender. Drain, unbind, and serve hot. Stuffed eggplant. Wash a large eggplant, cut in halves the long way, and scoop the inside out with a teaspoon, leaving each shell quite empty but unbroken. Cook the inside portion in 1/2 cup of water, then pass through a strainer and mix with 1/2 cup of breadcrumbs, 1 rounding teaspoon of butter, and season with salt and pepper. The shells should lie in salt and water after scraping, and when ready to fill them, wipe them dry and pack the filling. Scatter fine crumbs over the top, dot with butter, and bake 20 minutes. Stuffed potatoes. Select smooth, even-sized potatoes and bake until done. Remove one end, carefully scrape out the center of each, mash, and season with salt and butter. Add a generous portion of nut meat and fill the shells with mixture. Cover with the piece that was cut off, wrap each potato in tissue paper, and serve. Corn stewed with cream. Select 1/2 dozen ears of Indian corn, remove the silks and outer husks, place them in a saucepan and cover with water. Cook, drain, and cut the corn off the cobs with a sharp knife, being very careful that none of the cob adheres to the corn. Place in a stewpan with 1 cup of hot bechamel sauce, 1/2 breakfast cupful of cream, and about 1/4 ounce of butter. Season with pepper and salt and a little grated nutmeg. Cook gently on a stove for 5 minutes, place in a hot dish, and serve. End of section 11.